Artscape's Youth to Masters Jazz Festival is back for yet another exciting season, this time from the 10th to the 13th of September. The three-night event will see the theatre's patrons be treated to a new young talent legends and jazz master themselves. For more on this, we're now joined by the festival's director, Amanda Tiffin, and one of the jazz masters, VJR's band member, Ian Smith. A very good morning to you two. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Indeed, it's an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Good to have you too, Ian. Amanda, let me start with you. Let's start with you reminding us what the Youth to Masters Jazz Festival is all about.
The Youth to Masters Jazz Festival is a very special edition of the jazz that Artscape hosts every year. We've combined the annual Youth Jazz Festival with the annual Masters Jazz Festival, and we're really celebrating our heritage, our jazz heritage, by showcasing young talent alongside legendary talent. And it's also in celebration of 50 years of the Artscape building.
Mm-hmm. Now speak to us, Amanda, about this year's event. What can be expected?
This year's event consists of 3 concerts, and all 3 concerts will be filmed and placed on Artscape's digital platforms for more people to enjoy. The first concert is the Youth Jazz, which is this year's 2021 cohort of young up-and-coming jazz talent that have been mentored over about a couple of months program, and we'll be showcasing their talents. The first concert. The second concert is a fabulous collection of young jazz talent that have come through the Youth Jazz program in the past and are now establishing themselves on the scene as our next sort of legend cohort. And then the final concert showcases some of our absolute legends in jazz. We have amazing collection of artists: George Werner, Alvin Dyers, Zelda Benjamin, and of course Ian and Virtual Jazz Reality, VJR.
Ian, tell us about your participation at this year's festival. What can we expect from the jazz master himself?
Well, from us, we're lucky to have with us this time a few really exciting guests, who some of them having been former the youth component of the festival. So now they're already well on their way to be masters, having got the young Adelia Dow, who's already toured internationally. I think she's toured about 29 countries, and she's off this month in a couple of weeks overseas again to be touring for another 4 or 5 months. And she's done extremely well, and she came through the jazz program, as well as we've got a very exciting guitar player, very popular, I think one of Cape Town's most popular jazz guitar players, Richard Caesar, and he's also a great vocalist, as well as another young, amazing talent who's destined for really huge things. He's the first saxophone player on call these days. His name is Justin Belair. So we're combining them with my band, Virtual Jazz Reality, as you saw in that opening clip.
Yeah.
In particular, each member of the band has been a mentor over the years for some of the people you'll be seeing joining us on Sunday with us.
What I'm particularly fascinated about the VJR is that you guys have maintained the same level of excellence over these years. So what kind of mentorship went on, between the jazz legends like yourselves and the new and upcoming talent in the jazz space?
Well, the thing is to pass on not just the music, but the whole industry and how it operates. I'll give an example. A student of mine has come through one of my township projects from Delft. I used to have a project called the Delft Big Band. The young trumpet player was also on the program, came through the Youth to Masters. He's the first trumpet player on call now as well. He's toured internationally. He's the first guy that's booked in the studio. He gets booked before I do nowadays. So that's a test to what he's managed to do and so on. He worked in the Far East. He's worked with the biggest names in the business already.
Yeah.
And some of them have gone on to study abroad in the States, and the success stories are huge.
Amanda, this year's festival is a mixture of fresh talent, legends and masters, as you've said earlier. Tell us more about the reason behind this.
I think this year we really wanted to celebrate the relationship between the masters and the youth, and to acknowledge the role that the Artscape jazz programs have played in really helping showcase and provide a platform for our talent. The Artscape Youth Jazz Festival has run since 2003, and it's really been kind of a crucible, if you like, for giving young up-and-coming musicians a taste of what it's like to play on the big stage and to interact with established jazz artists. And I think this year Artscape really wanted to showcase that relationship and acknowledge the role that our legends have played in shaping and helping our young musicians establish themselves and help their careers move forward.
And I quite like this initiative of, blending in the young jazz musicians and as well as the legends and the masters. So those jazz enthusiasts, especially the younger ones who've just broke into the industry, what is it that they should do or they can do in terms of, meeting up with these jazz legends and being mentored by them?
I think that the Artscape Youth Jazz Program is a really great place to start. Every year we send out a call for young musicians to audition and send in their videos. These days we are doing everything by video, which is rather nice because it creates access for people who might be a little bit further out and not able to come into Artscape. So they can send in their videos and audition for these types of programs. And get involved. And by doing so, they meet, not only do they meet mentors who will work with them, and a lot of those relationships that are established through the Youth Jazz Program continue beyond the Youth Jazz Program. And also they'll meet other young musicians and create work together. Last year, our Youth Jazz groups, we had 2 groups. One of them have continued on and formed a band together because they really loved working so much with each other. They decided to make a project, and they've been continuing beyond the program. So I think that's a really great place to start.
All right. Now, Ian, what can the young emerging jazz performers take away from legends and masters such as yourself?
Well, I hope the main thing for me is the inspiration, and just to make them realize that they can, even in these troubled times, one can make a good career out of music with the right dedication and the love of the art of jazz or music in general.
Okay. All right, Ian and Amanda, lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Just a quick one, Amanda. Give us more details on how those interested can go about experiencing this jazz experience.
There are 2 ways to experience it. The best way is live, and tickets are on sale. Obviously, tickets are limited because of COVID protocols and social distancing requirements. So best to get your tickets ASAP, and they are available through CompuTicket. They're only 80 Rand, and you can also phone through to the Artscape dial-a-seat number if you like, but CompuTicket's probably the easiest way. Okay. And the other way is to watch out for the release of our live concerts on the Artscape YouTube channel. Okay.
Amanda and Ian, lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us.
Okay, good stuff. That was the Youth to Masters Jazz Festival's director, Amanda Tiffin, and one of the jazz masters themselves, VJR's band member Ian Smith, and they've been speaking to us about what to expect of this year's event, taking place from the 10th to the 13th of September.
Wee!